No, think of the respect.
No, no, no.
Think of the Tony.
Well, hello, all you theater lovers, both out and proud and on the DL, and welcome back to Broadway Breakdown, a podcast discussing the history and legacy of American theater's most exclusive address, Broadway. I am your host, Matt Koplik, the least famous and most opinionated of all the Broadway podcast hosts, and it is our final Tony's episode before the big day, May 5th. Cinco de Mayo, where the Tony nominations will be revealed and the game will change completely. In preparation for that, rather than do my official list of predictions, I wanted to kind of do a consensus of different minds and see where people were going and have conversations with everybody. So I did take to the Broadway Breakdown Discord channel and asked everybody some big swings that they were thinking about, contenders for nominations that may be out of left field, that in some ways on paper there'd be no reason to think they would be nominated, but something in your gut tells you it could really happen. And I did the same thing for a couple of guests we have on this week's episode. So before we get to any of that, we do have 2 reviews. I know you can jump ahead if you really want to, but as I said, I will always read the reviews you guys write, whether they're 5 stars or 1 star or whatever. And you guys have been really crushing it with reviews lately, so really thank you so much. And I believe we even have a couple of more ratings on Spotify. We've got some new subscribers on the YouTube, so it's been a good couple of weeks with you guys really coming up to the plate, and I hope it's because the content has been sufficient for y'all. All right, so let's start the Light in the Piazza overture, please. 5 stars, my new favorite podcast. I recently founded this podcast and it's become an instant favorite. I've become a college instructor of theater this year, and this podcast helps keep me tuned in to Broadway's current events. It helps that Matt is sweet, funny, and handsome. Smiley face. That handsome is actually in there. I did not write that. Thank you very much. My mom agrees with you about that. Not everyone else does, though. All right, next up. 5 stars, great Broadway guide. I am a high school drama teacher, and I am bringing 114 students to New York City the week after the Tonys. Ooh, Godspeed. I book group tickets really early to get good pricing, and it's always a gamble. I try to pick a wide variety of shows. It is so fun listening to your in-depth reviews that give me things to talk about with students. Oh, I'm glad. I like how when you approach your reviews, you still focus on things that work, even if it wasn't your favorite. I look forward to seeing a new episode I can listen to when I drive to work. Thank you for your in-depth analysis, and then in parentheses, I am taking them to 2 Strangers, Outsiders, Schmigadoon, The Lost Boys, Ragtime, and Stranger Things. They get 3 open slots to see things on their own. That's a nice array of stuff. Well done. Thank you very much, Clint Eaton, and as well as Jack Greenwood 97. Thank you very much. I've got some nice theater instructors listening to this podcast, so in some ways I could say I'm an educator myself. No, that's a wonderful array of shows. I hope they go see a couple of other plays, The Ballisters maybe, or even Becky Shaw or Death of a Salesman. That would all be wonderful. So thank you very much for that. I will go into a couple of segments now. So we've got 4 separated pre-recorded segments, and if you're watching this on YouTube, you can guess in what order I recorded them based off of what I'm currently wearing and how clean-shaven I am in this moment. First up, we have friend of the pod, Casey Balsham. Many of you would know Casey as the host of the new theater podcast, It's Broadway Bitch, which is making a huge sweep across platforms on TikTok and Instagram, and of course on the regular podcast streaming platforms. You can listen to my episode on her podcast wherever you'd like, as well as interviews with Barrett Wilbert-Weed and Jerry Mitchell and so many other incredible talents. And I don't know how I was lucky enough to get in there. But yeah, let's take a moment and dive right into Casey's interview and what she's sort of feeling from this season with the Tony nominations.
Oh my, letter from heaven.
Hi, Casey. Welcome back.
Hello. Thank you again for having me back. Happy to be here.
So, Casey, we're talking some Tonys. The nominations will be coming out in a few days. And I just want to get your take as someone who's seen a lot this season, who's interviewed a lot of people this season. I don't know, what are some of your gut reactions to nominations coming up?
I mean, my absolute gut reaction is saying that Lost Boys is going to take the whole shebang. Just because, listen, I think that like you had said before, it identifies more like an Outsiders, not a vampire. And I think that that will carry it. I mean, look at Outsiders. People were like, boo. And people, like, if you look at the little thumbs and stuff like that, it had mainly middle ones. It's thriving. It is winning, and it is recouping. I think Lost Boys will find the same thing. And while I loved Two Strangers, and I remember, like, before everything came out, everyone was like, well, this is the only original musical. I loved it. But God damn it, I think we deserve people flying on a goddamn stage. I think we deserve fire. We deserve pyrotechnics. We deserve like a homoerotic love story. We deserve it all. You know what I mean? I mean, not a love story between David and Michael, but is it not?
Okay, so put a pin in her. That's a whole other conversation, but I digress. Yes, I famously said on your very famous podcast, It's Broadway Bitch, available wherever you listen to podcasts.
Oh, thank you for that.
You're welcome. You brought up, no, did you bring, yeah, I think you brought up Lost Boys.
Yeah, we said, do we think it's going to do well?
Yeah, my thing that was I felt it was going to do well because it identified as a twink musical.
As a twink musical, yes.
Not a vampire musical. And you better believe that and the pandering to liberal crowd clip, those two clips have followed me ever since that episode came out. Because as Lost Boys has been in previews and like gaining a major cult following and, got like solid reviews.
Yeah.
I've had people reach out to me and be like, twink musical, it shall do well.
It shall do well. Yes. But
yeah.
I honestly, I was kind of like when I saw Two Strangers, which I thought was just really cute. But my thing watching that was like, I was like, give me a goddamn set. And I know that that's the thing. And I know that obviously this musical is doing fine and it's going to get nominations and all these things for being what it is, two people and a bunch of fucking suitcases that open and close. But like you see Lost Boys and you're like, this is what, as my marketing manager said, he goes, this is what we deserve. We deserve a show that feels like a show. Like we deserve something big. And I do think for, as mediocre as some of the reviews were, I think it's going to be nominated more than any other show.
I mean, it has
perhaps probably Ragtime, but they're in a different
category. Well, we'll see. I think Ragtime, Jellicle Ball, and Lost Boys are probably going to be our leading nominees.
Jellicle Ball, yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes.
And the big thing is with Durand, that now means we have 9 contenders for leading actor, which means we have 5 nominees.
And I guess that means 10 for leading actress now, right? Because there was 9 before she was announced.
It's 10 for actress, but that we still always had 5 slots for actress, but now we went from 4 to 5 for men. And so it was always a question of like, among Brandon Uranowitz, Luke Evans, and Nick Christopher, which one's going to get left out when we have 4? And now that it's 5, it's like, none of them. They're all just going to get in now. So Ragtime's going to have minimum 4 acting nominations.
And we're between. I mean, it's going to be either Nicholas Christopher or Joshua Henry. And if it's not, we're going to burn down the building.
Oh, to win?
Yeah.
I think it's Josh. If anyone's really coming for Josh's gig, it would be Sam Tutty for Two Strangers because.
Oh yeah.
And the reason I say that is because I think that Best Musical, and I know we went from nominations to full on winning now, but welcome to the pod. I do think Best Musical is a 3-way race among Schmigadoon, Two Strangers, and Lost Boys. And it's really just that no one of those shows has this overwhelming support from everyone. It's not that like anyone hates anything. It's so much like, it's not a maybe happy ending last year where it was like
it's not a Hamilton. It's not
exactly,
it's not like it's yes.
Yeah, every show has their camp of fans and a reason to vote for it. And for everything that I think Lost Boys maybe kind of misses the mark on, there's something that it actually kind of nails brilliantly. And I give a lot of credit to a show that can do that. And I think, as you said, people want spectacle. They want to see their money on stage again. And I don't think it's like our duty to reward any show that's expensive. But a show like Lost Boys, it's not just expensive. Like there's craft to it. It looks stunning almost from start to finish.
It's insane. I mean, when it first starts, I literally went, wait, which brings me. So I guess would LJ then is considered for leading and is Ali considered for supporting?
Ali is considered
I also
supporting,
forgot. Which is because I honestly see, this is what I don't understand about nominations, because I feel like he is on stage a lot. He has got a lot to do. Like to me, he is more of a leading man contender than Andrew Durand, who I love. I love Andrew Durand, but I do feel like they're equally on stage.
Yeah, it's fluid. It's a fluid situation.
Yeah,
but
I understand.
I think it's a combination of stage time and then also narrative focus, right? Because in a
Sure.
weird way, Rocky Horror is about Brad and Janet.
Sure.
Um, Even though like once Frankenfurter shows up, he takes over.
Yeah.
And then in Lost Boys, it is very much Michael's story.
Yes.
And because there was a debate about this on our Discord. People were not sure if Shoshana was going to be considered lead or featured. Some people, like myself, felt very strongly she was a featured role.
Mhm.
Others felt very strongly she was a lead. And I think the argument is like she is the largest female role, but it ultimately isn't her story. Everything about her narrative that we see is in relation to Michael's journey.
Yes, I get it. I get
Yeah.
it. Yeah. Not for nothing too. I I am a Paul Alexander Nolan stan. That man can do no wrong in my book. I love him.
Did we not talk about this on your podcast?
Did we?
I don't remember. I won't shut up about that man.
I literally I made an appreciation post to just be like, this man keeps getting, he's the best. I hear he's a nice person.
Mhm.
He is fun to watch, and he has been in things I thoroughly enjoy and has also gotten snubbed many a time, and he shouldn't be. He is so talented.
He's incredible.
He is incredible. Paul Alexander Nolan for everything. I want him to win Best Lighting. I want him to win Best Book. I would like him to win Best Choreography.
He
Paul-
deserved the best score win for that note he sings before he dies. My God.
He is incredible, and Paul Alexander Nolan, I love you.
Paul Alexander Nolan and Isabel Michaela for me, and it's
She's so
ironic because they
great.
both were in
I
Waterfell.
know.
But they are two of the most talented people working in theater right now. And I just always feel like, not that we do them dirty, but we don't quite give them the
Sure.
right thing to launch them. So like Nolan, there were a couple times where I was like, we could have gotten him in there. Like Jesus Christ Superstar, we could have gotten him in there for lead. Bright Star, we could have gotten him in there for featured. We did not have to nominate all three Hamilton men. It's okay. It's fine, whatever.
Water for Elephants, he should have been.
I'm sorry, get him in there. The man showed dong on stage in Slave Play, and we still didn't nominate him. I'm like, what does he have to fucking do?
What does he have to do?
What does he have to do? And as I understand it, he couldn't care less about the Tonys, but I care for him.
I care for him as well.
Yeah.
Let's make shirts. I care for Paul Alexander Nolan.
I care for Paul Alexander Nolan as well.
That's also, I'm also going to make a shirt that says Jarhead because we love Jasmine Amy Rogers. Jarhead, and I care for Paul Alexander Nolan. That is
and then I am for Isabel Michaela, but I have to figure out there's a joke there with I am. I don't know.
I'm in a tizzy for Izzy.
We're spitballing. We can't do brainstorming right now. We've got nominations.
We can't. We've got nominations to talk about.
Yeah.
But yes, I guess I do. I think Lost Boys are gonna lead.
Mm-hmm.
Here's one. Here's a swing that I am thinking. I do think Chenoweth might get a nomination. I just feel like people are like, why not? There's almost part of me that feels like the voters are going to make a point as to say, like, we are going to we're going to see above all of the shit because we still just like her as a Broadway legacy.
Mm-hmm.
Also, I think that Laurie Metcalf will obviously get, and I think that the Scott Rudin play will not be punished. I think it will be absolutely celebrated, which also is like, all right.
Yeah, we did talk about that on your podcast as well.
Yes.
I do think it's getting nominated ultimately because shows like Dog Day Afternoon and Fear of 13 really disappointed most people.
Yeah.
And those were like the chances to kick out Little Bear Ridge Road. The only other option would be Punch. And Punch could get nominated because I think Will Harrison, the lead of that, has a shot now at leading actor in a play. But I think with Queen of Versailles, it's a couple of things. One is Schmigadoon is now eligible for score. So we've got Two Strangers, we've got Lost Boys, and Schmigadoon pretty much locks for best score. There are 2 slots left. The only other 2 new musical scores are Beaches and Versailles. Say what you will about Versailles, it's a better score than Beaches. And then, like, if one of them doesn't get if both of them don't get nominated, then we're nominating 2 plays for their background music, which I think Salesman has a shot at that. But I'm like, what are we doing here if we can't acknowledge that, like, Queen of Versailles has something to it?
Has music, yeah.
Yeah, and lyrics.
'Tis a musicale.
Yeah, tis a musicale. It has music and it has lyrics.
Yes. So I think that it will not be snubbed. I think the opposite. I think people will go out of their way possibly to nominate it just to be like, we really don't care.
Yeah.
About what people think.
They fucking voted for Nicole to win after all the, where can I get that hat stuff. So like,
but she deserved it.
No, I know she did, but I'm just saying.
But
you
that's
know?
what I'm saying. They don't care.
They're too busy seeing the shows and
Yes.
talking with each other and then nominating or voting for said shows.
Yes.
That's what they're doing.
Also, do you know what I didn't know until I just interviewed Adam Guan, who used to be a Tony voter?
Yes. I know Adam.
He's lovely.
His
First off,
partner, John, used to be my co-host on the podcast back in the 1.0 version.
wait, really?
Yeah, really.
Well, he's lovely. I love his music is lovely, and I didn't know that it's only a 3-year stint.
When you're a nominator, yeah, it's 3 years.
Well, that's actually really nice to know that it's not the same people doing it every year. I actually had a little, because people say whatever they that they say that things are bought. Especially lately, there's been a lot of discourse about buying reviews and buying all this stuff and even buying your spots and Sony. Which I mean, not for nothing, but all the award shows have an element of that. You know what I mean? Like I have friends that have been nominated for Emmys and they're like, yeah, if you don't knock on doors and give everybody a fruit basket, you're not going to fucking win. You know what I mean? Like people want to be bought, but it does at least make me feel good that it is not the same people for decades. This is how senators should be. They should get 3 years. I'll see you later. Let's get some new rules.
Senators, Supreme Court, Congress, like all of it. Just like this shouldn't be a lifetime job.
No.
The only thing that should be a lifetime job is good person.
And mommy.
I think some women are allowed to quit that job if they so choose. Joan Crawford could have been allowed to quit the role of mommy.
Joan Crawford, deserved to be like, you know what? Not for me.
Yeah.
But yeah, I guess the big swings would be Chenoweth, would be Scott Rudin stuff. I hear Giant is one of the best plays of the season. Lithgow Lithgow, I think, probably also is like, people love to give Lithgow stuff. They love to nominate the stars. They love a Lithgow.
People love to just give John Lithgow stuff.
They do though. They love Lithgow. They'll give him a thing. Lithgow for 2026.
I actually think Giant not winning play will push people to vote for Lithgow, and then people won't necessarily feel compelled to vote for Lane because they're going to vote for Salesman for Revival, probably Mantello for director, and Laurie for featured, Yeah.
People love Lithgow.
Well, I don't always love what he says in the press, but as an actor, he's incredible.
That's what they love an acting Lithgow.
They really do.
But here's another person who seriously can't miss is Kara Young. Again, will probably get nominated. And she is on a fantastic run.
She really is. If she gets 5 years in a row, I think that's the record of most nominations back to back.
I mean, pick 'em, girl.
Good for you. She knows what to do. Featured actress in a play is so jam packed with like amazing contenders.
Sure.
That you wonder who's like, are people going to nominate based off of like, yes, they're great, but this person's equally great, and I liked their show more.
Okay, that's fair.
But if you're like, no, Cynthia Nixon's getting in, it's between Kara Young and Jessica Hecht. And I'm like, it's fucking Kara Young. I'm sorry. I love my Hecht, but I'm a Hecht head, but I want to say Kara Young.
That's another shirt.
Hecht head.
Stay young, Kara Young. Hecht head.
I want to be forever Kara Young.
I want to be forever Kara Young. We're doing this.
Casey, this has been amazing. I know you got to go.
Yes.
Final big swing you want to go out on for all the kids to know. Like final thing you want to put out into the world.
It pains me to say this, but I don't think Titanic is going to get anything. No
wins or no nominations?
No wins.
Yeah, I agree with that.
I think that it'll get a few nominations, but I think that I'm so glad that they transferred to Broadway, but I think in a season like we have, I'm not sure that I'm not sure that that's where it's going.
I would probably agree with that.
But I think she'll get nominated for sure.
Yeah. I see musical book her.
Yes.
Fingers crossed for Leighton Williams as the iceberg bitch.
Yes, I also heard that Leighton Williams is the star.
Yeah, I'm gonna ask you to put your mommy magic into the air so people nominate Leighton Williams. Let's make it happen.
Leighton.
Thank you so much, Casey. You go off and enjoy your life.
Okay, bye. I'll text you and we'll figure out when you come in. Okay,
absolutely.
Bye.
Okay, thank you very much, Casey. Next up, we have friend of the pod, Zaddy of the pod, Juan Ramirez. Many of you will know Juan for his writing as the chief theater critic for Theaterly. He also has written articles for Vanity Fair and for the New York Times. I believe he even wrote for The Guardian recently. Juan's a really wonderful theater critic. We don't always agree on stuff, but when we do agree, we agree in perfect unison. He and I have been on Theater All the Moving Parts together, Patrick Pacheco's lovely talk show for CUNY TV. And Juan has also been on this podcast. He did an episode on Carousel and he did an episode on Streetcar Named Desire. So if if you know Juan, you know he's not afraid to go there. And if you're watching this on YouTube, you can rest assured Juan asked me what he should wear, and I said something with a deep V, show off the girls, and he did. So let's hear from Juan.
Oh my, letter from heaven.
Hi, Juan. Welcome back.
Hi, Matt. It's been a minute.
You've seen everything, right, this season?
I've seen everything, which I think the past 2 seasons, there was 1 or 2 things I skipped just because life was too short to engage with whatever Left on 10th was. But this
I don't appreciate that hate crime you just said to me.
If your key art is not respectful to my eyes, then I won't give you the 2 hours you ask of me, you know?
But so having seen everything this season, you have a lot of opinions, I'm sure, on candidates for nominations this year that I'm sure you're very passionate about, but what's immediately coming to mind for you?
Look, I'm not on GoldDerby. I know only what the, bickering queens on Broadway will talk, and I sort of make a point to get to the theater 1 minute before curtain, so I don't talk to anyone.
Good move.
I mean, I have written down some notes here. The one thing I was trying to decide is because for the past few weeks, if not months, my sort of line has been, oh my God, Queen Jean is going to win 2 Tonys. But now doing a little bit of research for this, those 2 Tonys being costumes for Cats, Jellicle Ball, which I think has got to be a lock. I don't want,
what else would win?
Let me quick scan. It's I think Schmigadoon is the only thing. And, I think we can all agree those costumes are really lovely, but it's money plus designs that we've seen since the 50s. There's Christian Cowan, who I love it, but it's more like it's more like gowns, Miss Kristen's Gowns by Miss Kristen's Gowns by Christian Cowan, the rest secretly by you-know-who.
Mm-hmm.
And
Queen
then,
we're talking about, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then, I mean, I don't know, I like, Lost Boys was a great looking production. I don't think, again, and Queen Jean, not only are they great off Broadway, and these leveled up incredibly. The other thing, though, I would have said that she was a lock for her work on Liberation, but then she was not nominated for the Drama Desk. And I thought, maybe this is a thing of, maybe she was nominated for the Drama Desk last season, when it was off Broadway, but it was ignored then too. Which I find odd.
I think I would still kind of put Liberation as the front runner for costumes in a play.
So the 2 Broadway shows, because as you said, most of them are actually off Broadway, but the 2 Broadway shows nominated for costume play Drama Desk are the Ballisters, which Anika looks lovely, and then Joe Turner, which I think is the only upset I can imagine for Queen Jean, for his work on Joe Turner's Come and Gone. I didn't love the look of that production, costumes included.
Neither did I. I feel like you and I are the few brave souls willing to say, love the play, don't love the production it's in.
Yeah, and in Paul Tazewell, look, he is great. He's so talented. Him and the set design, though. Maybe my fault for not knowing that this was the 1910s play in the Pittsburgh cycle, but it took me a minute to really figure out when we were, because the background looks. Obviously, these people know more than I do, so if that's what the 10s in Pittsburgh look like, totally, it looked a bit too too far along industry to me. And the costumes looked also a bit too modern. I don't like the sort of sexy dark trench coat they give Joshua Boone, and I thought, oh, okay, the Equalizer walked in or something.
Yeah, I feel like with my issue with Joe Turner is I think nominations are going to happen because it's a period piece and and that's catnip for nominators, but. Yeah, I did not find a cohesion with this production, look included, that for me will keep it from winning anything. If Ballisters gets in for costumes, that'd be awesome. I've been shouting for a while now that nominators need to take more contemporary designs seriously, because it's just as difficult and just as mindful as any period show. But yeah, I feel like right now for play costumes, we're looking at Liberation, we're looking at Joe Turner, we're looking at Fallen Angels.
No, I mean, and that's the thing, and that's sort of the same, in the same lane as Schmigadoon, in the way that I think better. They look gorgeous. Anytime I have too many martinis in a robe, it's that is what I want to be looking like. The fabrics are just draped on these 2 women. They look so fucking gorgeous. But it's something that if you tell the AI in my mind to spit out, $1 million Kelly O'Hara was burned, period, that's what would come out. With Liberation, sort of, I agree with what you're saying about how they need to reward more contemporary. The thing I think Queen Jean's designs in that show do so well is that it does feel contemporary. You know, it's 70s period costumes, and you're definitely in the 70s, but it's not, you know, they're not all walking in like with an afro and like give peace a chance shirt. You know what I mean?
I describe it as in Liberation, they're not wearing costumes, they're wearing clothes. And that's the difference.
Totally.
And I mean, if we were to do the Schmigadoon version of Liberation, you would want them in the 70s costumes because the whole point is that it's camped up. But no, like, as you said, it's meant to be lived in. It's meant to be more grounded and realistic. And so, yeah, it feels like genuine clothes that people would wear, which is just as impressive. And it is, technically speaking, a period piece. So that is something for people to grab onto, but it's not flashy in the way of a Fallen Angels for sure.
Yeah. Either way, I think it'll be Queen Jean's first nominations. And she's been somewhat like, because, you know, I mean, for listeners who don't know me, I'm a critic, I'm a journalist. And it's just one of those names that, well, her name is very, you know, stands out, but it's one of those things that you feel yourself typing over and over again. And then eventually you're like, damn, who is this person whose name I've been typing in every glowing review I've typed for the past however long?
Yeah.
They're such a great person, like a true, honest, you know, walk the walk activist. And they're up for 2 others this season for Saturday Church and Oh Happy Day, which I would have loved to have a longer life at them after the public, but still, loved them. Joe Turner, I kind of only see them getting max 2 nominations. As we were talking about off pod earlier, featured actors in a play is an insane category this year. You're sort of going up against the entire cast of Liberation, except for Susanna Flood. But the actress who plays Harold Loomis's wife, who comes in the absolute last second, Abigail Onwanali, she, I mean, talk about A Star is Born. Like, she walks into that play and suddenly it all makes sense. Knows exactly what she's doing, knows exactly what she needs to do, what her character functions as in that play. It's like the last 10 minutes of a production that I feel is otherwise going to be a little bit left out. So I don't see it for her, but
Joe Turner is a situation where I have to put aside my feelings on it with what maybe other people feel. And I wonder if enough people have are enjoying that production enough to give it a revival nomination, and maybe costume, set, and Ruben maybe.
But here's the thing. I mean, I don't know. David Gallo, I think, who did the scenic design, he was an actual longtime collaborator of August Wilson's, which I think makes for a nice narrative. The set, despite what I just said about it looking a little too industrial, is fine. However, not that this is his fault, but I do think it, you know, registers in people's minds, even though this is a Debbie Allen problem, unfortunately. I was about to pull out my wallet and start throwing singles at the stage like a drag club to be like, please get the fuck out of this kitchen. You have an entire set and everyone is just talking to each other from across this kitchen. Stage left, there's like, God, just put someone in that couch over there. I don't know, put someone outside. Like, please do something. It was so boring. And also, my main thought when I think of that place lighting is the end of Act 1, which, again, unfortunately for Debbie, like, it's supposed to be this mystical moment where the characters are supposed to be unconsciously enacting what Joshua Boone's character is talking about, this, like, sort of, like, out-of-body experience he had. And they're just sort of standing at the lip of the stage, rotating like rotisserie chickens, like, in this very corny lighting. I don't know. It's, again, it's not Stacey Drossier's, the lighting designer's, fault, but that is what I think about when I think of lighting in this production.
I mean, there's a running joke on the Discord of what's going to be the 2024 Sweeney Todd winning sound design situation. We're like, not only did she get nominated, but she won. Where there's always like that thing where we all know that nomination sucks, but it got in there. And so with Joe Turner, like, as you and I said, like, we don't like the design of this production. We're not a big fan of the production itself. There's some solid performances. The play itself is good. But I also just like, I know that there are people who look at that and they go, well, it's a set. And they're more likely to vote to nominate that than like Bug, which has this great reveal, but they'll just go, well, it's a hotel room. I'm like, yeah, but what it does is really impressive.
Yeah.
Or like, and even like the Oedipus set, the Oedipus set, I think that's a really phenomenal set. So we have to remember it's always called Oedipus because, Juan,
they do the title song. I'm a loyal listener.
Juan listens, everybody.
God, Bug, you know, I was looking at my little, you know, extremely detailed Tony sheet that I have here.
Mm.
Bug, God, I would love for it to sweep, even though I sweep nominations, even though it won't. But like, the sound of that was spectacular. The set was great. Kind of the only lock really I have is like, honestly, none. I think they could all be sixth place in everything, which is so unfortunate.
Even Carrie, you think?
Because of recency.
Sure.
Because fuck, I don't know. Maybe someone's watching Hacks right now and is like, Gene Smart, like.
Oh God.
I think because Best Actress we have 5. Susanna Flood, lock. Leslie Manville, lock. I think both Fallen Angels ladies, Rose Byrne, Kelly O'Hara, lock. Io from Proof could get in. Like, she didn't get the reviews that. I'll say this: my review was not replicated across the board, so she might get in there. Anika, we love her. She was good in this. Tessa Thompson, like, brand name. I don't think she deserves it necessarily, but that's not her fault. Lori could do a 2. You know what I mean? I think Carrie is kind of 6th place here. Could be the 6th place.
That's interesting. Because my thing with Lori, I feel like Lori and Carrie sort of are fighting for that slot, especially because with Rose and Kelly, I don't see how you nominate one without the other. And so they just like kind of take that spot, especially since I'm not entirely convinced Fallen Angels will get in for Revival. If it does, I think it's at the expense of Joe Turner, which I'm not mad about. I think ultimately, I think Joe Turner's the better play. I think Fallen Angels is the more successful Revival. And it's one of those things where there's such a duo that I don't see how you separate. But with Lori could get in under the guise of Little Bear Ridge Road getting nominated for play.
We shall see. Let me see what else do I have. Okay. I have 2, and then my other 2 sort of hot takes that I wrote down. I'm trying to think of which one I should start with. There's one that I think is not going to happen, but will be amazing, and then there's one I think will happen. So you tell me, what do you want first?
You say one without telling me which one it is, and I'm going to try and guess.
Okay, Becky Shaw wins Best Revival.
I think that's the one you don't think will happen, but you want to try to make it happen.
Yeah, correct. I'm not an actor, everyone. I love this production of Salesman so much. I somehow wound up interviewing both Nathan Lane and Laurie Metcalf about it, and like, not that experience could already get richer, but talking to them about it and just like the process behind getting this thing up, bumpy as it was, but in a sense, Becky Shaw is a goddamn Pulitzer finalist that I don't think many of us had ever heard of. I mean, look, it's at second stage, it's a small production, sort of a quote-unquote small show, so to call it like a historic revival feels crazy, but I do think that after this play will be performed more.
Oh yeah.
Granted, I don't know if this was like the regional hit of the season in 2010, but I think in terms of the biggest happy surprise of this entire theater season was this play that, the poster is like lipstick with like a bomb on it or something. And I'm like, what the fuck is this going to be about? And then it was just so good. And finally, the Tony would go to Gina Gianfrido, the author. Whereas, like, do we need to heap another Tony onto dead Arthur Miller?
Yeah. And Salesman's already won Revival 3 times. So
sure.
Which, I mean, I think that's more sort of a testament to how good this revival is, that it seems like such a lock now to win, and that's really a testament to Joe Mantello, who I think he's winning. No matter what happens with Becky Shaw or Salesman, I think Mantello is winning director. I
have Joe, Laurie, and Nathan winning. That, poof, there you go. Go fucking see this right now. I don't know. Again, it's not, I can't even bring myself to say I hope Becky Shaw wins over Salesman. This production is damn near flawless. But yeah, I was just so surprised. I think she needs the recognition for this play.
But with that passion, you are saying, though, that it's a lock for a nomination for sure.
Oh, yeah. For Revival, I have Oedipus, Bug, Becky Shaw, Death of a Salesman, and Fallen Angels.
Interesting. No Marjorie Prime.
I loved that production. It's like had no afterlife, I guess. You know what I mean? And I mean, again, it's like a second stage thing. They have to throw their weight on one thing. They don't have like, the funds that we're about to get walloped, for example, by Death of a Salesman or like a giant or something.
Yeah. If my podcast can do one thing, I hope nominators remember, oh yes, Marjorie Prime was really beautiful. That's my hope.
Stunning.
Just beautiful work. And reminding us all that Cynthia Nixon is a phenomenal actress because TV is making her do the stupidest shit.
And then my final take, which I think could literally happen, is Giant goes home empty-handed.
Well,
Win-wise.
Yeah, especially if you think Nathan's winning actor, then yeah, I think Giant's biggest chance right now is Lithgow, and
Yeah.
if he loses, then yeah, I think they could go home empty-handed. My big thing with Giant is I really just want to make sure Aya Cash gets recognized. I think she's fantastic in that show.
Mm-hmm.
I know it's difficult. Featured actress is really hard. I'm setting myself up for a heartbreak, but I'm hoping I would like it.
Giant was this play that when it was in London, people were coming back and being like, holy shit, this is going to come sweep. And it's going to be like the event of the season. And it's not, you know, it's certainly, I think, selling well. And
It's selling quite well, yeah.
Mostly positively reviewed. But it wasn't the bomb I was expecting. Or, you know, like bomb is in, you know, the explosion.
It didn't explode the way it is. Yeah, exactly. Which happens a lot, I feel like now.
And I think, I mean, I find it very hard to believe anything takes liberation. That's such a play that, like, so many people who saw it love it so dearly. I mean, not that, you know, we've sort of debunked the myth of like the touring, whatever, blah. I don't think liberation is necessarily like a touring thing, but it's something that like every theater could put on and just like have so much fun.
Yeah. The touring narrative needs to be fucking put to rest already, because it's not true.
Yeah.
It was true for 1 year, which was the Avenue Q year, and ultimately I think what the touring vote does, because there's also the misconception that it's the largest voting body in the Tony voters. It's not. It's like 10%, maybe.
Like 10,
yeah, it's not that much. What it is that it can be the deciding factor if it's down to like the wire between two, which is ultimately, I think, what happened with Avenue Q and Wicked, that like it was a matter of a dozen or so votes, and those Tony Road voters were the ones that went with Avenue Q.
Yeah.
And
do you think Tempest could win featured actress?
Yeah, I mean, I think anyone could technically win that category. It's such a weird year,
right? And I'm sort of loath to. Well, no, retract that. I'm not going to say I'm loath to give it to her to like a one song performance, which is also not what this is.
No,
but I'm looking at it now, and it's, you know, I mean, Nina White for Versailles, she was great. She's not getting in.
No,
either Titanic, rather like Melissa or Deborah Cox, if they get in, I don't think it's them. From Schmigadoon, Anna Mackenzie, I think, have a slight edge over Isabel McCalla,
which is a shame because I want Izzy, but I think Mackenzie's getting in.
If any of them get in, I don't see them doing it. Shoshana Lost Boys, it could be like a We Love You. She sounds amazing in it. She's always great, but it is kind of like the mom role in like a show that's not about the mom. Hannah Cruz in Chess, fantastic voice. Don't really see that happening. Rocky Horror, like Rachel Dratch, could also be a sort of like legacy, whatever. But any of these people, and then of course Temperance, and then like whoever, Emma Sophia or anybody else.
And Nichelle as well for Ragtime.
Oh, right. Do you see that happening? I feel like everyone's sort of very politely being like, well, it's not Audra, but she's great, you know, like.
Yeah, I think Nichelle's getting in partly because the field is so weak. I honestly don't see her winning, because it is sort of every conversation I've had with people, and when I say people, I actually mean people who vote and a few people who've nominated. It is what
when I say people, I mean people, not you subhuman Redditors.
I'm very open about, we can't take social media at face value when it comes to buzz.
Yeah.
You have to look at it's one of the things I pride myself with this podcast is I do talk about, without giving away who I'm speaking about. New York is a very specific hub, and everything that matters with Tony's happens here. You have to be in the rooms talking to people, hearing what they have to say.
So who do you I mean, could this be, wait, remind me, are there's no runoffs, right? It would just be a tie. Yeah, there's like there's not like these two people came so close. Special, urgent, emergency election.
The way that so there has to be like an actual tie. Ties have happened.
Yeah.
And
do you think this could be it, since no one is the clear front runner? Do you like?
It could absolutely happen, or it could be the like Mackenzie or Anna or Temperance win by like 10 votes.
Yeah, it's like to me, it's like Anna versus Shoshana versus Rachel are sort of We Love You from your body of work.
Yeah, I think if
Mackenzie and
basically,
Isabel beat each other. Nichelle maybe front runner. Hannah.
there are so many butterfly effects with this category because
Yeah.
ultimately what it comes down to is how voters feel about Schmigadoon or Lost Boys. Because if Schmigadoon ends up being like the surprise winner, like if it wins book, if it wins musical, I can see Anna or Mackenzie winning. I think Mackenzie has the stronger first act, but Anna gets like the last really big song, and that
Yeah.
can affect people. But I think Temperance is sort of in the same narrative as I'm feeling as Nichelle, of everyone being like, I wish you were like 10% better, then I would vote for her. Like
Interesting.
and with Temperance, it's ultimately the voice. Everyone wants her to sing Memory like a little bit better.
Yeah,
than she's
sure.
singing it.
And both roles have like winning precedent, right?
Yes, because Betty won for this and Audra won. The thing about Sarah that I feel like this production highlights is she's not on stage a lot, and outside of Daddy's Son, doesn't have that much to do, because Wheels of a Dream is much more Cole House's song than it is a duet. And it's made abundantly clear when you're watching Josh do it. And once she dies, she doesn't really have this lingering presence throughout Act 2.
Do you think voters maybe won't give it to Nichelle because she buried that baby so deep in that yard? Something to think about.
I mean, maybe they have an easier time distancing themselves from that because Ragtime set is so non-existent, they're not even thinking about how deep that ground is.
Sure, but the one time something happens, it's like, 30 minutes of Cassie Levy doing, gardening, and all of a sudden it's like, what's this baby doing 6 feet under the ground?
Well, that also could just be Casey trying to give herself some busy work, because she's like, there's nothing else on stage for me to do. I have nothing else to hold on to. I got to find this baby for 8 measures.
Yeah.
Let's get into featured actor for a second, because I think you and I both have the same desire for a certain man with curly hair to win.
A man, by the way.
Man.
Yeah.
Tweed one, I'd say.
I thought Elliot Levy in Giant was actually really good. I think there's not that much hype around that performance. That's the other thing. There's not that much hype around anything that's not the play itself or Lithgow, who has also unfortunately done a string of unfortunately extremely transphobic interviews.
Yeah.
So we'll see about that. But yeah, I didn't see, because didn't one of the women win the Olivier?
The actress who plays Aya Cash's role, I believe, was nominated. I don't know if she won. And Aya took over for her in London, and Elliot did win.
Okay.
So yeah, I mean, that's the thing is, I was as I said in a separate segment with Casey Balsham, like, there are certain categories where there's just like every candidate has its support system, but no one's like the majority, if that makes sense. I feel like the only things that currently feel is like a majority consensus is Liberation for play, Joe Mantello for director of a play, and like, I don't know, that's kind of it. I feel like Jellicoe Ball has the majority, but maybe I'm in my own little bubble with that. I don't know.
No, I would agree with that.
Yeah.
Yeah, for featured actor, I have Elliot Levy in Giant. I have my pick, Alden Ehrenreich and Becky Shaw. Christopher Abbott for Salesman. I think there's a chance Ben Ehlers also gets in there. I have Ruben Santiago Hudson from Joe's Turner, who is incredible as always. And then my sort of freak pick that I would really love to see happen is Brandon J. Jordan in Waiting for Godot.
Yeah, he's the only performance in that production I liked. My hot take is I think Ruben's the only acting nomination that Joe Turner gets, unless Joe Turner doesn't get in for Revival, in which case all bets are off. But yeah, I think that the two most stacked categories actually are featured actor and featured actress in a play. And there's a world in which so many things could happen that I would love, that I would be upset about. I ultimately think that Chris Alden and who's the other one I said?
Elliot,
yeah, I think those are the 3 locks, and then everyone else is just sort of fighting for those last 2. In the same way that I think Nathan Lane, Mark Strong, and John Lithgow are locks in lead actor, I think Daniel Radcliffe is nearly a lock. I thought he was a lock, and then other people kept telling me I was wrong. So now I'm putting like 85% on Radcliffe for the 4th slot, and then that 5th slot I feel like is up for grabs for most people.
I have Lithgow, Mark. Oh no, just kidding. I currently have Lithgow, Mark Strong, Daniel, and Nathan. Although Mark Strong has been, I mean, as you've mentioned in the past few episodes, like the sort of preceding awards don't always mean too much, but I feel like he's been completely left out of the conversation. Which is strange.
I think that's where marketing takes an effect. First of all, I always tell people, please do not take the Drama League seriously. They put out good food for that event, but it is absolutely a pay-to-play organization. And
Sure.
watch me then be up for a Drama League in 20 years, and they're going to be like, we remember what you said on the podcast.
Right,
Matt.
right.
But Leslie Manville, and this isn't her, but like there's been so much press about her, both while the show was running, about her final monologue. Now she's doing Les Liaisons Russes in London, and then the viral clip of her talking about why can't people like live in the moment during the curtain call. So she's on top of mind in a way that Mark isn't. But so when it comes down to like a drama desk where it's a combined category of male and female actors, 10 tops, and it's also Broadway and off Broadway, certain people are going to
10
get
tops. Anyways.
10 tops. Sounds like a night at Juan's house. I do think Mark is getting in. I think it's one of those things where just due to the sheer logistics of numbers and including off Broadway, certain people who are locks for Tony just keep getting left out.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's what's funny. I have Mark literally as a lock, which means Namir Smallwood not happening. Keanu and Alex, I don't think happening. James Corden could, like, is that even perhaps not happening. Micah Stock not happening. Will Harrison? I mean, I kind of detested that entire fucking play and production, but he was good.
I think
I'm sorry. I'm being mean to this man. He was very good, and his like the one
he did a good job.
One time that play stopped and let someone act for 10 seconds.
Yeah. Are you referring to the scene in Act 2 where they're all sitting together and kind of?
Yes, the moment we all came to watch.
Yeah, that's the scene where I'm like, oh, a play is happening.
Yeah.
My plea to James Graham is to just write screenplays from now on and not write stage plays.
Totally. Or like these fucking theatrical Nike commercials that are just like boom, 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 you know? I really like John Bernthal. I think that's kind of an impossible task and role. That play is kind of completely misguided.
Yeah.
But I liked him more than Adrian Brody.
Dog Day Afternoon for me is a almost near miss. And the fact that I find him and Hecht to be the only standouts is a major compliment to their talents. I still think it's Will Harrison, but Bernthal is in the show that's currently running, but the stank on this Dog Day is such right now with everyone that I think that goes against him. Oh, so can we talk about featured actor in a musical for a second?
Actor in a musical, totally. Okay. I think the biggest narrative is Leighton Williams. Right? And I love him, right? Because he when I saw everybody talking about Jamie, a musical that I still cannot believe has been staged in this fucking country for some reason, he was Jamie and he was sensational. He was the voice of the now defunct British dating show I Kissed a Boy. He was the narrator randomly. And he's fucking amazing as this. And he was just nominated for a Cheetah Rivera Award. I think he got like the desk or the league or whatever.
I think
else.
he got nominated for Drama Desk. Might have even got nominated for the Outer Critics Circle. I might be making that up, but I think he did.
He's phenomenal. There's my secret boyfriend Ali Louise Borsky in The Lost Boys.
I think he's getting in.
I kind of have him winning because what's weird is that Ben Levi Ross is such an industry darling, and yet I feel like I've heard nothing going for him in Ragtime this season.
Yeah, the other thing about that with Ragtime is, again, I think Casey and Josh have such a strong hold on their categories right now. Casey less so than Josh. I do see a world in which Casey could get upset, but at the moment, I don't see that happening. It's so rare that a musical wins minimum 3 acting Tonys. It happens very rarely. And while Ragtime is definitely very loved by a lot of people, it's not this kind of thing where everyone's like, well, it's got to sweep the acting awards. Not when there are other options sort of like right by everybody's side that everyone's kind of side-eyeing. Like I think Ali is a major contender in that category.
You know what I think would be so interesting? Sidney Harcourt, which has been sort of floated as a possibility for Tum Tugger. You know what I just found out? He is 50 years old.
Ain't it great?
That is ain't it great as like a hopeful sort of like.
Yeah, I'm like, doesn't it give
we
you
should
hope?
we should all look like that when we're freaking 50 years old.
No, I fully intend to find out what he's been doing because
Andy Cohen, apparently he's on every podcast talking about it.
Is that worse or better than listening to Andy Cohen doing Andy Cohen? These are questions.
Apparently, yeah, whatever. Everyone go look at this podcast.
Yeah,
I can't believe this is the thing that I saw.
No, I think Andre is getting in. I think that Sydney and Junior LaBeija are both sort of floating around as options. People seem to be really enjoying Max Clayton and Schmigadoon. I think he's perfectly lovely in the show, but I think the women are the ones who really walk away with that show.
He was great. I mean, and for you must have been over the moon. He had the carousel number, but
I mean,
he did that and then kind of just like fucked all the way off for Act 2. I mean, that show is a disaster, I think. But
say that a little bit louder, Juan, please.
I think Schmigadoon is a disaster.
Okay.
And if it wins Best Musical, it's like we really are fucked. But
this
anyway,
is a gas leak year one. Okay, look, all you have to do is look at
isn't it musical wise? I think
musical wise. Yeah, no, the last 3 seasons have been about the plays for me. This season with the musicals, it's a gas leak year. Already next season's looking better, so I'm hopeful. Especially on the revival front next year. I'm like, we'll be dining out.
Oh, I was gonna say when Saleha Pfeiffer wins, she's not winning against
Rachel,
whatever. Anyway,
but I think Max has a shot. I just think the women are funnier in that show than almost all of the men.
Yeah. But there is the chance that Schmigadoon just gets this like massive wave of nominations and like everyone gets in, right?
Yeah, that could. I think Schmigadoon and Lost Boys both have that chance of being like, whoa, way more than we ever expected. Same thing, because Lost Boys has that outsiders element of it's young, it's hip, it's fresh, and it's going to overperform people's expectations, even though it has its problems.
I am rooting for a Ali Louis Borzage nomination and win. I honestly like there's such few times that I feel confident in saying someone was robbed. I think he was robbed of a nomination for The Who's Tommy, again a production no one but me liked, but I think he's such a fucking star. It's unbelievable.
Yeah, no, he's great. And another
thing, bring back a baritone to this damn city, like, you know what I mean?
I love those thick folds. I mean, he's also wearing a tank top in Lost Boys, so I mean, it's underneath a giant trench coat, but it's there.
Yeah, no, it's so funny. My boyfriend has been hearing me like talk about this man for years, since The Who's Tommy, and Ali spoke, and he was like, "That can't be his real voice," and I was like, "No, it is. Get ready."
He's what the kids call a man.
I know, but even though he's like 24 or something, it's crazy.
Max Clayton is 2 years younger than me, and I'm calling him daddy. Like, I don't know what to tell you.
But yeah, if not him, I don't know. I'm kind of against Andre getting it for Cats because that would be such a like legacy situation.
It would be a legacy win. I'm not against Andre winning, but whereas I thought Andre was a lock to win about a month and a half ago, I just now think he's a lock for a nomination. Okay, last hot take. Where do you see leading actress in a musical going now that we have Stephanie Hsu in the mix?
I mean, talk about gas leak. Casey
to win.
Okay. Oh, sure.
Casey. I didn't know if that's what you meant.
No, I have her for the win. Yeah, I'm not too. You could sense my excitement about that. But nominations. Kristen, I think honestly could get in. Christiane Pitts for Two Strangers. Marla Titanic, Casey Ragtime, and Leah Chess. Here's my disclaimer. I hate Ragtime the show so much. This production sells it very well, even better than at Encores, where I was like seething in hatred at that show. But Casey's great. The thing, it's such the hypotheticals of what's gonna happen, what didn't happen game, right? Because like I saw her next to Normal in London, phenomenal. However, if we do the thing of waiting for next year, and then it's versus Rachel, who that's not a sure bet either, but like I don't know, and she was amazing in Hair, right? But yeah, give it to her. I just don't think it's such a... Already, I think that musical gives no one enough time to really do anything worth a damn, and in this production, even less. But yeah, and even as much as I love Leah, and I love her in this show, mostly vocally, and she also is sort of like the face of it. She's like a producer. She's like, it's her show. I still think, talk about if I can't complain about Ragtime being a basically concert staging, and then say Leah should get it for Jess. I quite liked Kristen Chenoweth in Queen of Versailles. The nomination would certainly be the win, I think, just sociopolitically speaking. Two Strangers, I can't fault. You know what? Christiane Pitts carries the brunt of that show, which is letting that little British boy be like, yo, 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 and be like all microaggressing all over her the entire fucking production. There's like Schmigadoon, there's Sarah Chase, whom I regularly love, but the way that people are complaining about Kelly Barrett having to do her beaches bows in her hospital gown is the way I think about Sarah Chase in the advertising for the show in her like little Lululemon fit.
Mm-hmm.
Stephanie Shu, it's just on name alone, I guess.
Yeah, I think Marla and Casey are my only real locks. I thought Christiane was a lock, but similar to how you were saying about Mark Strong, I know that I keep saying this, drama desks, outer critic circle don't really matter. It's just a matter, but it is something of like every time somebody doesn't get nominated for those awards, it's their name one less time in the press. And so it's just sort of out of sight, out of mind.
Yeah.
I just have this weird feeling when Shu was put in lead, because I thought she was a lock and featured, and now that she's in lead, I just had this gut reaction. I was like, oh, well, now either, Vosk or Leah get kicked out and she's going to get in, but I don't know what, I have no reason to think that one. That was just my gut saying that. I'm probably wrong.
I don't think Leah's getting kicked out because I don't even know if Chess is getting in.
For Revival?
For Revival.
Yeah, I don't think so. I think the best they can hope for is Nick, Leah, and maybe Hannah all getting in. But I think we're looking at, I don't think we're looking at 3 out of 3. I think we're looking at realistically 1 out of 3, optimistically 2 out of 3.
Yeah, I do. I mean, you mentioned, like, we can't really relitigate Versailles again, however long after the fact. That was my favorite of these 4 scores.
I mean, my thing about Versailles, I think that most of those songs have an idea in there that is legitimate, and then I think half of the score is pretty successful and half of it blows. But I don't like any of the songs in Schmigadoon. I like most of the lyrics in Two Strangers. I don't care for the music. I also think that show would work better as an 80-minute movie with no songs, so that's what I have to say. And then Lost Boys,
I like that score. I think it works. Nothing took me out of it. Nothing was bad. It's all in service of this like massive production that I really, really, really enjoyed.
Yeah, I like the earnestness of it. I give it, for everyone who talks about the F. Murray Abraham song in Queen of Versailles, I'm like, okay, I will meet you there and match you with the gay comic book song in Act 2 of Lost Boys.
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure.
Two very gay songs in different ways.
Yeah. I can't believe Schmigadoon was allowed to be nominated or eligible, but whatever.
Juan, we got to wrap things up for you, but
yeah.
last thing you want to say for people about Tony's coming up, like if you could speak to nominators right now and say, hey, this may not be top of mind, but please consider.
Oh wow. Please give Queen Jean 2 Tonys.
Let's do it.
Is that the hardest I'm like going this year? No, you know what, Alden. I think it's kind of a lock for him to win, but like, he's so good, guys, and we have societally wasted this man for like 10 plus years, even though he has consistently been the best thing in everything he's been in, which has also usually been at least pretty good. But ever since he, moseyed on into my life as Hobie Doyle in O Caesar, Hail Caesar, O Caesar. Now that I would see. Oh, Mary, Hail Caesar. And Oh, Mary, Hail Caesar mashup of some sort. Anyway, Alden Ehrenreich, he is so good. He's such a movie star. He's so funny and sexy. He was funny. He's funny, I think, is the main thing from this production. I was like, oh, wait, you're a really fucking funny stage presence. Yeah. Please, everyone, let's give him that.
I love it. Yeah, let's Alden, everybody, remember it and know it and commit to it. Let's do it. We can make it happen.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna put back in Leighton Williams. Just guys, come on. You wanna.
Yeah, exactly.
I know you're in your mind. You're going, but what about Jim Parsons? I'm saying, in your heart which one you want to pick. Do the right thing.
Sure.
do the correct thing. Okay. Well, Juan, thank you so much for joining us today. I really appreciate it.
As always, Matt. I will see you soon.
See you soon. Okay. Thank you very much, Juan. Next up, we have friend of the pod, awards expert, friend of the pod, Sam Eckmann. Many of you will remember Sam on GoldDerby. He's one of the leading theater experts for the Tony Awards on GoldDerby. He's also been on this podcast quite a few times. He was on literally like less than a month ago to talk about sort of how things have shifted with the Tony Awards, with the opening of certain shows, and as other shows have been in previews. So I would love for us to check in with Sam now that everything has opened, now that all the eligibility rulings have been made into place, and also now that Sam and I have seen everything, what we're feeling, what he's feeling, and a little bit what I'm feeling about the Tony Awards race now. So take it away, Sam.
Oh my, letter from heaven.
Sam, baby, welcome back. Long time no see.
Oh, thank you, Matt. Good to be here again.
You've been as busy, if not busier than I, in terms of like running around and seeing everything this April, yes?
Yeah, sleep was, spare time is hard to find in the last 2 weeks of April, but we're
That's
finished now. I saw The Lost Boys and I'm finished now, so.
I would say sleep and free time is for the 1%, not for us. That said, with all this intel, I wanted to kind of get your opinion on sort of where you think things are shaping up for this upcoming Tuesday morning. Anything in particular that has shifted in your mind, and then just like a gut feeling that maybe there's no rhyme or reason, but you just kind of feel it.
Yeah, a few things. I feel like with the last round of Tony eligibility that they released, since then there's kind of been like a little bit of murmur and swell for Schmigadoon, I think, in the end of the season. I think Best Musical still feels like such a toss-up in a way, because we kind of all put Two Strangers tentatively as the front runner at the beginning of the season, and it's kind of like each of the four, because we know what four are going to be nominated, musicals have positives in their corner and then, negatives in their corner for why they could or couldn't win. And for Schmigadoon, I think a lot of it had to do with like, well, this score and the story originated from the TV show, and they don't like to award pre-existing scores and jukebox musicals, which it's not really a jukebox musical, but they have deemed Cinco Paul's eligible for the Best Original Score category.
Mm-hmm.
And so that was like one thing I think holding it back, is that before we thought it couldn't get nominated there, and now I feel like the nominators will be like, oh God, another musical to tick off, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
So I feel like he is going to get a Best Score nomination, which makes their path to Best Musical win much more viable. I think there's still the aspect of like, well, it still wasn't all created for the stage, and it's a limited run that's not going to be around. So if I give it my Best Musical vote, is that really going to help its financials? Because I do think people are cognizant that Best Musical is the one that can help the box office, and all the shows need it. But, whether Schmigadoon wins Best Musical or not, it's going to be gone, in several months. So I think there's still an edge for Two Strangers and The Lost Boys, because people know the financial help that they can give, that boost at the box office with the award.
Yeah.
But there is definitely a little bit of a swell and more conversation around Schmigadoon right now.
Do you think there's a world in which the producers announce sometime this month that Schmigadoon's going to extend and maybe pull like an Operation Mincemeat of like periods of extensions?
I mean, I don't have any insider knowledge on that, but I would not be surprised. I'm sure they were having conversations right now about like, can we do that or not? Because I think that the perception that it's going to close, I don't know the last time we've had like a limited run of a musical win Best Musical. And I do feel like people are very aware that they can help the box office with that category. So saying, yeah, we're going to be here, we're sticking around for a bit. Titanic just announced this morning, actually, that they're extending a bit further. And I'm sure that's also a strategy for them to say, we're not going to leave so soon. I do think that would be a benefit for Schmigadoon to try some sort of extension to get their foot in the door there.
I was thinking for a second, I wonder when Lincoln Center announced that Contact was going to be an open run, if that was when they came to Broadway or if it was during Tony season, because, it was a transfer from the Mitzi Newhouse to the Beaumont, and usually Lincoln Center Theater does these like, it's running for 3 months, it's extending, and occasionally they've done the like, we're just not going to close it, we'll close it when we close it, and that was like Contact and South Pacific and King and I wonder when Contact announced that, because if they announced it during Tony season, that, I mean, something for Schmigadoon to look at if they want to look at history to help them win.
Yeah, I would not be surprised if once nominations come out, they then like piggyback off of that with a celebratory, and they loved us so much we're extending announcement, which would kind of help give them equal footing to the Two Strangers and Lost Boys, which I still think are slightly out front of it just because of that reason. But I think if they were to extend, then that could put them on equal playing field. So again, we'd have,
Yeah.
all these musicals where no one is really pulling far ahead like they do in so many years.
Exactly. What would you say the energy right now is on Lost Boys? Because it is sort of the last wild card of the season.
It's really interesting because there's certain, and I try not to read too much into some of the other awards because, like, Lost Boys was left out of the top categories at the Drama Desk. They really just went all in for off-Broadway. But it is important to note, like, with some of those other awards bodies, the Drama Desk, I think their nominating committee is usually like 7 or 8 people. And those people do see, like, literally every single piece of New York theater. So it's hard to find more people than that who can commit to that kind of schedule because they are in the theater every day.
Yeah.
But because it is such a small group versus, I think there's been a few Tony nominators who have recused themselves, so we're probably down. It was 60, or probably like 55 or something, 57. When you have a smaller pool of nominators, those individualistic tastes really can rise to the top, and you can it only takes 2-3 people to really like one show, and suddenly that's like a leader in nominations
Yeah.
or kicks out something that's really popular. But I do still think it's interesting that the Lost Boys didn't place there, and I think there's a split. I was really impressed by the Lost Boys. I thought it's like, especially in a year that is lacking big swings for the top musicals, it is an extravaganza. There are millions of dollars on stage, and you can see those millions of dollars.
Absolutely.
But I think there's a split between some voters will really appreciate this like grand operatic scale of the Lost Boys, and that will tick their boxes. And I think there will be other people who think, well, it's based on a movie, and they view, spectacle like that, the design elements, as like great, but that's more of a like gimmicky thing, and I want a more down home, simplistic style of storytelling, which like Two Strangers would give them.
Yeah. I feel like since Gentleman's Guide, there has been more of a trend with the Best Musical winner of on the smaller side, with the exception of maybe just Hamilton, which of course is the outlier because it's, the Pulitzer juggernaut.
That
But
was
you
the
look at
Zeitgeist show for sure.
exactly. But even shows that are extremely popular at the box office, like Dear Evan Hansen, is ultimately an intimate, like 7-person musical. Fun Home, Gentleman's Guide, Band's Visit, Kimberly Akimbo, Strange Loop. So that's, in a lot of ways, I wonder if that works for or against Lost Boys. Like it's this big, bold, grand swing, and that's so different from the trend of the last 10 years. If some voters are like, yeah, I'm ready to vote for something new this time, or enough people are like, no, I like the small, quirky show. So we'll see. What's your gut telling you about some bold things this year, Samuel?
Oh, God. Let me look at what I'm doing here. My gut is telling me I'm going to just be wrong no matter what I do in featured actress of a play. If you look at who has been nominated at like Outer Critics Circle, Drama Desk, Drama League, no one has scored in all of them except for Laurie Metcalf. I think she's the only person who is safe. And there's like 10 to 12 other women who have a legitimate shot at that category. So if you wind up one of those women with a nomination there this year, know that you made it in the hardest race. I just cannot decide on what to do. So I'm ready to be, and I feel like I don't want to wish this into existence, but our dear Marjorie Prime cast members keep like missing all over the place. They got an ensemble nomination at the Drama Desk.
I think they got a special citation for ensemble.
Yeah.
There, maybe, yeah.
Yeah.
Which I appreciate. It's a bit of a cop out where the Drama Desks are like, there were simply so many people, and we remember you fondly. Here's a special citation. Like, no, you cowards! You give Cynthia Nixon her special nomination. But no, I feel you. I do wonder. I feel like anybody who gets featured actress, if you get like 3 out of 5 on Tuesday in your predictions, you're golden. And if you get 5 out of 5, then you absolutely saw the nominees beforehand.
Then you were the person who tallied up the nominations, and how dare you?
Exactly. In a way, I understand why people are predicting Jessica Hecht for Dog Day Afternoon, because whenever you count out Jessica Hecht, that's when she gets in. She just finds a way. But I don't know. With so many contenders, it's hard for me to make a giant case for her in this play.
Yeah, I have a similar thought about Jessica Hecht and Kara Young,
Mm.
which is they are both really beloved figures. There's some people in the industry who are just like really well liked because they are both incredible actors and extremely talented, but also just very kind people who everyone loves talking to and getting to know. And I think both of those women occupy that space.
Mhm.
And they're not doing anything wrong or bad in these shows, but I just feel like Dog Day Afternoon and Proof are not going to be really dominant Tony players. I think Dog Day Afternoon will get in for set and maybe one other design category.
Yeah.
Proof, I don't know. Now that Schmigadoon is eligible for score, I'm not predicting Proof and score anymore. So that could get ignored elsewhere because it's just been a really strong year for play revivals. And so that one was just like, yes, this is good, but I don't feel as strongly about it as the other ones. And so I'm going back and forth between will people's overall sentiment for their production win out? And they get in because they're Jessica Hecht and Kara Young. Or will they be like, I wasn't really that huge of a fan of those shows overall. And in featured actress, there's still June Squibb and Cynthia Nixon and Linda Emond and Mary Louise Burke and all these people who would be so deserving in shows that have a much stronger reception and stronger buzz going on.
Yeah.
That's hard to figure out.
I feel yeah. What are some categories other than Best Musical where you feel very confident in your predictions down the line?
I do think looking at another featured one, featured actor in a play seems complicated, but I feel confident about it now. I feel like it's whittled down to 7 people. So I have Christopher Abbott, Ruben Santiago Hudson, Alden Ehrenreich, Elliot Levy, and Danny Burstein. And it's really I'm worried Richard Thomas could break in for the Ballasters. He's also, very strong in that show. And then I think Joe Turner's could get Joshua Boone in as well as a second nomination. But it's really down to those 7 people. I would be shocked if it was anyone else other than them. So I feel pretty good about that, unless the Tony nominators really want to give me a hard morning and just snub Marjorie Prime across the board and remove Danny Burstein, then I feel pretty confident.
I feel like in a lot of ways with performances, you have to kind of work backwards from what are the shows that are going to get, what shows are going to be thought of highly in their actual production, right? So for me with featured actor and actress, I start with okay, what do I think is getting in for revival and play, and then who do I think is the most likely in these categories from those productions to get in? And so for featured actress, I think obviously Lori, I think Betsy, item for Liberation, and then after that, while it is sort of a who can tell, part of me is maybe Mary Louise Burke for the Ballasters, maybe Aya Cash for Giant, and then June Squibb for Marjorie Prime, which, yes, that leaves out Cynthia Nixon, which I hate, but, that's still a solid lineup. That leaves out Carrie Young, which I hate, it, but, swab out Carrie Young for one of them, it's still a solid lineup. Yeah.
I do think, in terms of the eventual win, Ruben Santiago Hudson has emerged as, a major threat to win the category. He has a lot of goodwill. I mean, he's the August Wilson whisperer, and it would make sense for him to win a Tony for this, for an August Wilson play. So I think, and he's wonderful in the show. So I think it could come down to him and Christopher Abbott for the ultimate win.
I mean, I think Ruben also has yet to win a Tony, which is important to remember, and that role has won a Tony in the past. The first production, I don't think the originator won, but he was nominated, and then Roger Robinson, I think, was the actor who won for the Bart Scher production. So it's of all the roles in the show, that kind of is the role. He also gets the final line, the one that's printed on all the T-shirts at the theater. So Ruben Santiago Hudson is Joe Turner's Come and Gone, as far as I'm aware. I'm trying to think of any other categories that have kind of been flipped on its head. We have Andrew Durand and Stephanie Hsu now eligible for lead, which switches things up a little bit there. Yeah, Anika Noni Rose eligible in lead, which could switch things up in leading actress. I still feel pretty confident about my original predictions. But I do think if anyone's gonna fuck things up, it would be Anika in the Ballisters. Because I just think the Ballisters is gonna be not necessarily like a formidable opponent to Liberation, but I think it's gonna be a strong presence as a new play in the nomination. There could be a supportive Anika getting in. We like her. This is the first time she's been in a Broadway show since COVID where we're like, yes, this is a good use of you, as opposed to Uncle Vanya, where everyone was just sort of like, well, I'm here.
We're on stage. Well, you're talking about things that I'm really confident in, but in terms of things that I maybe not am confident in, I've just noticed alarming things that like people we thought were safe perhaps that are strangely not, with lead actress where Anika is suddenly eligible there. Carrie Coon has been missing a lot of nominations going into this, which is very strange. I think people really thought she was a lock there, but she and Bug has not been showing up in Revival of a Play. That has been getting shut out in a lot of these early awards. Same thing with people we thought were locks, like Mark Strong has bizarrely not been showing up for Oedipus. And even I think the dramatist didn't include Giant in Best Play. It's really just been a John Lithgow focus moment. I don't think even Elliot or Aya have gotten nominations at the three that have been announced so far. So it's interesting to see which people are kind of rising up to the top and consistently being remembered, even though it's not overlap with Tony nominators. It's still there are people who are consistently being named and others who I would have thought were shoo-ins who are not.
Yeah. I feel you. I have been also kind of surprised that Mark Strong hasn't popped up more. I wonder. But I also think about lead actor in a play. And I'm like, I don't know who would get in over him in that spot.
Yeah, I have him in third place right now in my predictions. I still think he's in. It could just be a quirk of the nominating process and those other award shows, some of which have Broadway competing with off-Broadway. The Drama League is always weird because they just have that one big acting category. So there's quirks. It's not an apples to apples comparison for sure. It's just, it seems like Leslie Manville has been the real focus for Oedipus, which I think maybe if people who are thinking Mark Strong could win in the fall, that seems less and less likely, and it seems like a Nathan Lane, John Lithgow showdown.
Yeah. I think that's fair, and I think actually by Mark Strong not being a major contender to win, like a nominee but not a contender to win, I actually do think that helps Leslie Manville's case to win because it's a way to honor Oedipus, which probably won't win Revival now, with it being up against Salesman. Similar to the Oscars this past year, I think we're going to see a lot of shows with a lot of nominations, and then the actual wins will be pretty spread out.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah. I mean, I guess sort of top of your head, where do you see, what shows do you see coming out with double digits or almost cracking double digits when it comes to nominations next Tuesday?
Oh, I think even though it's not eligible for the writing stuff, which takes out 2 categories, I do think Cats the Jellicle Ball will be up for quite a lot, because it's going to have revival, director, choreographer, costumes for sure. It could it probably will be up for lighting and orchestrations it's eligible for, and at least 1 acting nomination, but probably 2 or 3. So that will definitely get a lot in. And I think Death of a Salesman will have I feel like the revivals are going to dominate ultimately. I feel like Cats, Death of a Salesman, Ragtime will probably be the nomination leaders if I had to guess. And I think Lost Boys could too, because it's going to get in all the design categories. And I think the aerial work could also land them in choreography. So those are probably the ones I'm looking at to be the leaders of the pack.
I think that's fair. Sam, I know you got to head out soon, so I just want to ask you before you head off of here, if there's one thing you would really fight for the nominators to think about, to consider before they put in their ballots? If they're listening to this and you're like, hey, please don't forget about this. Is there a specific show or specific performance or whatever that you would like them to remember?
Oh boy. I really just need Marjorie Prime to not be snubbed because I suddenly feel like it's on the bubble in every single category it's eligible for, and I don't know how that happened. I guess because it's a winter show. But I stand by the fact that it had some of the most exquisite acting. Like June Squibb, Cynthia Nixon, I feel like I've never seen her better in anything, which is insane because she's Cynthia freaking Nixon.
Right.
Danny Burstein was amazing. Even Christopher Lowell, who has like the smallest role, like that single tear that comes down his cheek at the end of the show where like holograms are discussing memories is beautiful. It was just a perfectly acted show. So I am really holding out hope that I have it in 5th place for revival of a play, and I hope that holds. And I hope at least one of the actors is able to get in, but a lot of them should get in.
Yeah, it's a wonderful company. And you're not just saying this because we have you on record on Instagram saying that it wasn't getting in for best score, right?
Okay, well, I was not trying to be bitchy with my thoughts there, Matthew. It was just how much of that score can you hum these many months later?
That clip is more showing how I am an idiot because I was just being like, come on, guys, let's get it in anywhere we can, which is also how I live my life. But yes, that clip more shows you being pragmatic and realistic and me being like, maybe, possibly, but especially now that Schmigadoon is eligible, it's like, I think we're getting one play in there.
Yeah, I think it'll be Death of a Salesman will probably be the only play in score. But I think that, and I would also love to see, I know the Cats, the Jellicle Ball, the acting conversation has focused a lot on Andre DeShields, and I think he's safe, but there's so many people in that cast who are like, I feel like the faces of this Broadway season almost. And so Temperance Chastity Moore, I think I would love to get in. Even someone like Emma Sophia Skimbleshanks, the Railway Cat. Come on, you cannot ask for a better fucking show than Skimbleshanks, the Railway Cat, as an MTA subway conductor. She's killing it.
I was about to say, I'm like, be amazing. Brave, guys. Nominate Emma Sophia. Be
Emma
brave.
Sophia.
You know you want to do it. Just do it.
I feel like they should. Skimbleshanks should be the Tony performance. She's so great.
Motherfucker.
She's so great.
It's so good. It's so good. Jesus Christ. Yeah, I'm like, part of me was wondering what they're going to do for the Tonys, especially since they did the opening / Jellicle Ball on Good Morning America. But now it's, have it be Skimbleshanks.
I think it should be Sidney James Harcourt, who could also be a nominee. Junior LaBeija would be a fun nominee. I think the Tonys should be really brave. They should open with Skimbleshanks, give Emma Sophia her moment, and then we get Rum Tub Tugger in his jockstrap G-string dancing on the Tonys. And then it
all cuts out, and Junior LaBeija does the last verse of Gus the Theater Cat to bum everyone out. It's like
he says opulence.
Opulence. I love that. And
the Straits are confused, and
I mean, yes,
and Pink says, "Good night, everyone. Thanks for coming," and that's just what we leave everyone with.
Yes, I think that's another Tony category that doesn't exist yet that I'll do is show that most confuse the Straits, and that's Jellicle Ball, that's Titanic, kind of Lost Boys if you think about it.
We had at intermission, my husband went up at Cats to go to the bathroom or something, and there was this woman, this probably 70-year-old something woman going, "Oh, well, this is definitely going to go for 3 hours the way they're carrying on." It's like, 1, you're so straight. 2, are you allergic to joy? I'm so sorry for you. Just like, I'm so sorry for you.
I'm sorry.
But this is why we need Sidney James Harcourt in his G-string on the Tonys.
It's true. People need to see what true joy is. Absolutely. I love that. But just don't look directly into the sun, everyone. You can't go blind. Sam, this has been lovely. I'm going to let you get on with the rest of your day. Thank you so much for joining us today. I appreciate it.
Thank you, Matt.
Thank you, Sam. And last but not least, a couple of friends of the pod, and I was most recently on their podcast, Drama with Connor and Dylan. two of our favorite ginger twins. They are the sweetest. They're the sassiest. We love them very much. And their time on the podcast is long overdue. And this is just a little nibble of what you can expect from them when they come back on in earnest together on the podcast. They don't know that they're coming back on together, but I'm telling them now via this recorded segment. But yeah, let's listen to Connor and Dylan for a little bit, talk about sort of where their feelings are at with the Tony season. And, if you haven't yet, by all means, please listen to their podcast Drama on iHeartRadio or wherever you listen to podcasts. And yeah, that's it. Take it away, twins.
Oh my, letter from heaven.
Wait, do we need to record? I always forget
this is
Riverside.
Riverside. It's
Okay.
recording all of us. Jesus Christ. I'm going to keep all of this. Dylan, Connor, welcome back.
Drama. Thank
I
you
know.
so much for having us back to talk about something we are obviously so informed on, which is like which twunk will be nominated for Best Featured Actor in a Musical.
Well, yeah, I feel like you guys have secret meetings about this and discuss, right? Or not the secret,
Absolutely.
you record it on your podcast.
Yes.
That's what you do.
That is when Drama was born in like 2018-19. We officially launched in 2019. It was born out of the A train rides back from the theater district up to Harlem, where we were debating who was going to be nominated for Best Featured Actress that season. And we were like every white gay in the world, we should be recording right now. Like, we should have a podcast.
That's literally how this was born too. Every
Twins.
white gay man in this world just stood there and said, I think the world should be hearing what I'm saying right now. I have a feeling it's iconic and I need confirmation.
No,
Right, 'cause
100%.
all gay men are casting directors and critics
Cake.
and experts.
There are gay men in theater are either casting directors or podcasters. There's no in between.
Or co-pros, but we won't go there.
Not
now, Matt,
today.
wait, not today. We can't go there.
No,
now,
wannabe Instagram influencers are now co-pros. That's what it is.
that is the pipeline.
Yeah, it's not just let's not be misogynistic or heterophobic. It's not just gay men. It's everybody.
True.
Tea.
Wait, now I'm so excited that you invited us on to talk pre-nominations because this is literally my favorite time. I feel like once noms come out, things get a little too serious, but now it's so fun. You can throw all the pasta at the wall that you want.
Listen, I always say that Tony nominations morning is the most bittersweet day because all the fun is done, in my opinion. It's like all of the possibilities out there. People walk away disappointed that morning. Your fave doesn't get nominated, me every year. And then you kind of just have to predict what's kind of been the inevitable all season long. I don't know.
Yeah, I think that the reason why the Tonys themselves are always a little underwhelming is that it tends to be as you said, like the ones that we were all kind of saying originally we're going to win, and then we spend a month putting ourselves into a tizzy of like, well, what if it's this? And then it was Agatha all along is basically how awards tend to go with like one or two caveats, but usually it's like yep, it's Agatha. But this year I think is going to be interesting. I don't know. I feel like there aren't that many front runners, and especially in something like Best Musical, like every show has its camp of supporters and like a narrative for what could get it there. And so I don't know. I think it's interesting, and especially because there are so many categories in terms of nominations that are up in the air. I would love to hear you guys sort of talk to me about where you're feeling passionate about, and maybe sort of like what you're hearing in the airwaves. Yeah.
Oh my God, I'm so
Ooh.
excited. Dylan, do you want to start or do you want me to?
Yeah, I'll start. I have been leading the Two Strangers campaign since I discovered the cast album. And if I would have been told upon hearing the song New York on Spotify for the first time that it would be like the front runner in score and musical and at least a nomination forward show, I would have probably laughed because it wasn't a huge critical darling, at least when it came to awards across the pond. And so I'm sticking to my guns with Two Strangers. I think that it's going to win Best Musical. I think it's going to get a lot of nominations. And I think that Sam Tutty could upset. It'll depend if they really, really vigorously campaign that month. But I truthfully don't think that they will. So it's still going to be Joshua all along if we're going with the Agatha all along reference there.
Yeah, I do find that everyone's looking for the possible upset for Josh. And the fact that no one can agree who the upset might be is where I'm like, so it's Josh. Josh is winning then.
Probably,
I think
and would deserve.
Yeah, I mean, listen, I think Sam would be a wonderful winner. Josh would be a wonderful winner. Those are sort of my two at the front. Connor, what about you? Where are you feeling these days?
In terms of Best Musical?
Or anything? I don't know. Give me a category that you want to fucking go to the mat on.
Okay, I think the featured actor and featured actress in a musical categories are the most exciting because this is such a random year. I really am like seeing these other awards bodies vote, you know, Outer Critics and Drama League, Drama Desk, all this stuff. And we're seeing some people that are nominated for all, but other than Andre DeShields and Ben Levi Ross, I feel like for featured actor in a musical, who knows what's really going to happen there? By the way, I would love for both of them to get nominated, but I have a scintillating hot take about one of the nominees who I think will be a first-time nominee, but for two different possible award wins here. Constantine Rusuli will be nominated for Best Featured Actor in a Musical and for Best Book for Titanic. And I think both are happening. He is so fucking funny in that show. He's picked up attention for both of those potential categories throughout. And he's out there. They are pushing him 100%. Like, I think it's happening. And I would be so happy about it. If you had told me when I was 13, like looking at pictures of, oh, who's in Hairspray right now? Who's in Wicked? This little gay boy being like, who's this hot Greek dude with huge tits and a giant ass and a megawatt smile? I never would have thought he would be a nominee. He's also a friend, LOL.
I was going to say that's also on his business card. Constantine Rusuli, huge tits, fat ass.
It just goes to show that if you're hot and talented, you can get nominated for awards. So Connie's going to pull through. I really believe it.
Amazing.
Nice. He's so nice. He's the nicest man.
Well, question then. If you think Constantine's getting in, is that at the loss of a Leighton Williams nomination?
I think it is at the loss of a Leighton, which breaks my heart because totally steals the scene, by the way. But I think that they're going to nominate Jim Parsons over Leighton. And I don't think 3 people will get in for Titanic.
And that's the thing is, I was talking about this in my review of Titanic. I originally thought that Jim was going to get in, not because I thought Jim was giving the best of the featured actor performances. I think he's fine. He's actually kind of my weakest in the show. No one in this cast is bad. Yeah, no one in the cast is bad. Let's put that up front. But he was my weakest. It's just like Ruth is such an awesome role, and you just have to not shit the bed to like kind of walk away with it. And I've seen Ruth's off-Broadway shit the bed, so like it's not a guarantee. But Jim doesn't do that, so credit's where it's due. But I was surprised, like, Jim hadn't really popped up anywhere so far, and Leighton actually kind of had. And we talk about this all the time on the podcast. Drama Desks and Outer Critics Circle and Drama League don't overlap with the nominators of the Tonys, so it's not the same as the precursors for the Oscars. But when you do get nominated, it can help your narrative. Your name is in the press. It's really exciting. So for Leighton, I was like, oh, that's really fun. But yeah, like, Constantine, you're right. He is everywhere. He was at my performance of Lost Boys, and I was like, look at you scoping out the competition.
I mean, I'm telling you, in the great tradition of like Lin-Manuel, Shayna Taub, Harvey Fierstein, Cola Scola of being acting and book or something, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Score, whatever it might be.
Shayna didn't get nominated for performing and stuff. So
True.
Yeah. Would Constantine then be the Shayna of this, and is Marla the Lin?
Oh my God. Marla definitely is getting in. Yeah, that's not a big hot take, I don't think, right?
Well, so speaking of Marla then, can I ask you guys, I'm also not trying to undermine you, Connor. I want to make sure we've thought of every single corner of the room before we leave.
I hear you. I know. I'm with you. I'm with you.
But gentlemen, speaking of actress in a musical, we have since found out that Stephanie Hsu is eligible in leading actress, and I wonder if this changes anything for us, or if we think it's all staying the same in terms of our nominees.
I don't think it changes anything at all. I don't think she was even going to get in featured. I think it just helps bolster the number of nominees for lead actor, and then they had to kind of put her there too.
I didn't know you hated Stephanie Hsu so much, Dylan.
Love her. She's been doing quiet good work since Be More Chill.
Quietly nominated for an Oscar, but yeah.
Quietly.
I thought she was one of the weaker Rocky Horror performances.
Fascinating. Okay. Who were your standouts in Rocky Horror?
Luke, Andrew Durand, Amber Gray.
You just loved seeing Andrew Durand get his ass eaten, Connor. That's what you appreciated.
No comment.
You saw that and you went, finally, a story I can relate to.
Okay, I loved Rachel Dratch, but I have to say, and this is probably one of my hot takes, is that I do think that the Rocky Horror revival was a bit of a underwhelming missed opportunity in many ways. I had an amazing time. I can't wait to see it again. I hope that it runs and they do ingenious creative recasting as Sam Pinkleton has done with O'Mary. But I found the tone to be really shifting around, and I'm I'm like a diehard Rocky Horror person, and I
Mhm.
just I don't think that Sam Pinkleton had a strong grasp on the material, like in many ways.
You're not alone there. A lot of people felt that way. It's why before Rocky started performances, I thought that Sam could be kind of a spoiler director nominee and could kick out someone who we thought might have been more of a lock, like a Lear or Chris Catelli. But I think that while Rocky Horror is not unsuccessful, it's not 100% successful. I do think that now that Stephanie is put in lead, that actually gives a stronger case for someone like Rachel Dratch to get into featured, because I do think I think she keeps that show together in a way that a lot of us appreciate. She handles the most of the heckling. I think she does a really good job with it.
Listen, I have to say my
Love.
favorite featured performance was Rachel Dratch, but I'm feeling like a post-mortem obsession with Juliette Lewis's performance in Rocky. I can't really. I looked at Connor afterwards and I said, what were they thinking? And then the more that I've thought about it, I feel that it's like a fascinating, almost like melodramatic, campy, especially the ending, like the note
Mhm.
that they leave us on. Something was happening there. And maybe if Pinkleton would have leaned into more of that tone, we would have seen more shades of what Rocky Horror is, in pockets around the country where we watch it every single year.
I feel like I'm watching Patty Hearst get Stockholm Syndrome in real time, watching you try to justify Juliette Lewis.
Did you not watch her enunciate and really give it her all?
Oh, she was giving it her all. She was committed. I just
Right.
thought she was out of her element. Like, Juliette Lewis is a talented woman. Bitch is nominated for an Oscar. Like, I don't think that this was her show. I
Agree.
personally would have liked, much as I love to see Andrew Durand get that salad tossed, I personally would have liked to see Durand play Riff Raff and Amber play Magenta / Usherette. That's what I would have liked.
Matt, this is what I love about you. You are thinking so inside the box because you're like, no, these pieces work. Let's just rearrange them a little bit. That's smart.
This is why I need to be hired as a dramaturg for every Broadway show. If I were on all of these shows' radars, they would all be getting 10s out of 10s. They would get a double critics pick, not just the lone critics pick. Like, it would be...
Wait, now I do need to talk about another standout Rocky performance. Then we need to move on to Dylan's. Dylan
Yes.
came in with a big take. Josh Rivera as Rocky was a sexual awakening for me that I was not expecting. I couldn't stop staring at his butt in those like white singlet he was wearing. It was like, I was like, did he bleach? Did he get it, like nared? Was it sugared? Like something's not happening down there that
Mhm.
I'm so curious about and can't stop looking at. So I need to obviously see the show again and again to figure that out.
There's some TV show or movie where like someone's trying on a sexy lingerie bit or whatever, and it's like all just like strings and ropes. I can't remember what it is. It's some woman. And I need to figure out what movie or TV show this was, because as I was watching Josh Rivera's costume, that's all I could think about was like that movie with that. Wait, so
I
Dylan,
can picture exactly what you're talking about. I have to say shout out to Josh Rivera because every production I've ever seen of Rocky, except for one time, they cast a hot guy who can't sing. And in this case, he actually sang those songs. And I was like, oh my God, this is melodic and really fun. Okay, my hot take is Rocky Horror adjacent. And maybe this is because I'm like a little bit cooler on the revival than others, but it is that Chess is going to overperform on nomination morning.
Mhm.
And it is going to get a revival nomination and 4 acting nominations.
4.
You
Tell me
asked
your
for a
4,
hot take
babe.
today, Matt.
No,
This
no,
is
I
my
know.
hot take.
Girl, I'm sweating. Tell me the 4.
Well, without a doubt, it's Nicholas Christopher and Leah
Mhm.
Michelle. The other 2 slots are interchangeable. I think Andrew Durand's chances, or like being in the lead category, gave Aaron a bump, so he could end up in there. And I think that, like, Brandon Uranowitz, if they're not, you said it yourself on your recent episode, they might not go crazy with all the ragtime acting nominations. So
Dylan listens,
maybe if
everybody.
Uranowitz, what'd you say?
I said Dylan listens, everybody. She's a fan.
And maybe they'll be like, okay, Aaron, like we can't nominate all, like,
Mhm.
we can't nominate 2 and not the other. And you all know I'm an Aaron stan. Okay, and then the other 2 are possibly Hannah Cruz
Would love.
and Bryce Pinkham as the arbiter. I think he has a shot.
There are a couple of people in the Discord who would agree with you on that. If Bryce Pinkham gets in for featured actor, then it opens up a Pandora's box of, does Chess get a book nomination? Because Bryce would be nominated for selling that book. Yeah. And I love Bryce, but I've been very open that like I think all of the material that Danny Strong has written for him, I think blows. But Bryce is such a charismatic performer and an amazing singer. So like him doing the Arbiter number was almost made up for the like RFK jokes and shit. But
Who were the other book nominees?
Schmigadoon, Two Strangers, Titanic, Lost Boys, and then Beaches and Queen of Versailles and Chess. So it's 7. So there's 4 nominees. I think ultimately we're looking at Schmigadoon, Titanic, Two Strangers, and Lost Boys, with Schmigadoon most likely the front runner there. I don't know if I agree with that being the front runner, but that's just sort of where the wind is blowing. I feel.
Okay.
I would love it if Hannah Cruz got in.
Yeah.
She was for me the MVP of that show, and I know that she's a friend of your pod, so hope
She
she
is.
learns this.
No, she was amazing. Like totally.
Yeah.
I went to see Chess in previews and then I just saw it again 2 weeks ago. And it's funny when you see it with that much time between and how your opinion on it changes like in the middle, and then you might see it again and it changes completely again. But Hannah is like my MVP. But I think Aaron is giving such a strong performance, and that character arc is so much more interesting to me than Anatoly's. So Nicholas is obviously being nominated for his amazing performance, but in terms of like the journey the character goes through, it's so boring to me. I really don't care. Does he care about his children? He never mentions them. Like he is truly so
But I
unwell.
relate to that. Who cares about the children?
They say kill your darlings, right?
I will say I am sort of mixed on Aaron in general, but in Chess I was actually pleasantly surprised by what he brought to the table. I thought it was this has been a year where a lot of performers have sort of gone out of their comfort zone to various degrees of success, and I think that Aaron's doing a really fun job with the role of Freddie, which can be a really hard role to navigate. Speaking of going outside of your comfort zone, our 2 ladies in Fallen Angels, Kelly O'Hara and Rose Byrne, being messy, drunk, and horny, and I am here for it.
Love.
Let's get them in there.
Obsessed. Absolutely
I
obsessed.
want
Get
both
both,
of them.
please.
Both,
Yeah.
for
I,
sure.
I actually preferred Kelly, but would definitely love both in there.
I think that Kelly has a bit more of an arc, as much of anyone can have an arc in Fallen Angels. I think she has more of an arc, but Rose is given a bit more of like the physical jokes, if that makes sense. Like they have more fun getting Rose to look fucked up in a way that
Yeah.
The
Kelly's a
wig.
bit more like glamorous hungover. But I similar to like Death Becomes Her or like War Paint or Wicked, it's sort of how do you nominate one and not the other? Whereas Chess, I can see nominating Nick and not Aaron, or Aaron and not Nick. It's like they're not really a pair.
Do you think we're going to see Shayna get in for Ragtime? Nichelle?
Featured actress in a musical, I feel like everyone is on the chopping block. Everyone is both a front runner and up for elimination at the same time. Who is the new this season? Who is the queen on Drag Race that got eliminated but they were a front runner? I didn't watch.
Jane Don't.
Jane
Jane
Don't.
Doe. Okay, Jane
Jane
Doe. yes.
Don't.
Jane Don't. Great. Like that, but that was sort of the whole thing, was like she had this amazing track record and then fully got chopped. And I feel like that's the case for featured actress in a musical this year, of like, you're all in the mix, but like none of you are safe, including Nichelle, who I think a lot of people have as a front runner. I think Nichelle too could totally get chopped if like the nominators go fully hog wild for Schmigadoon, right? Like it,
Sure.
because there's Mackenzie, there's Anna. My MVP of that show is Izzy, who I think won't get nominated. But like, what if they agree with me?
No, I would put all 3 of those Schmigadoon gals in.
Yeah, like
No,
honestly,
yeah.
Plus, like
over
there's
some of the other people we discussed, but
yeah, there's
out
also
of-
like there's
of
Jellicle Ball, and like
respect,
Temperance has the song and the narrative, and Temperance does a good job. But like, I'm also sitting here going, Emma Sophia, Skimbleshanks, like get bitch in there.
standout moment. I mean, that's a truly featured moment that you could nominate that people remember from that show, and that would be so exciting.
Yeah, and Shoshana's doing her damnedest to be grounded and cook in that kitchen in Lost Boys. Like, girlfriend can't leave a kitchen on a Broadway stage.
I do think
Shoshana
she
is
is
so
the front runner
amazing.
in that category, and third time will be the charm for Shoshana, and she's going to win.
Yeah, I think if and I know we got to wrap up soon, guys, but I think depending on how well Lost Boys does with nominations, that will be indicative of where Shoshana stands. Like if Lost Boys actually gets a good number, I think if Shoshana and Ali both get in, Shoshana has a really strong shot. If LJ gets in for lead, then I'm like, oh well, Shoshana's winning now.
Yes,
But-
I would agree. I would agree on that. For
It would be an
sure.
outsider's narrative for sure.
Yeah, I mean, and Lost Boys is outsiders with fangs. Don't steal that. That's going into my Instagram Tony categories that don't exist this year.
Yes, that's a good
Oh,
one. That's a
can't wait
really
for
good
those.
one. Yeah.
Thank you.
And, you know, going back to featured actor, and I mentioned Twunks, I could see Max Clayton getting in too.
He's been popping up more and more, I would say. Yeah, I think the only two people I feel confident just saying are nominated in that category are Ben for Ragtime and Andre for Jellicle Ball. And then everything else is sort of like a we'll see.
I think Connie and Ali.
Connie and Ali. And then if you had to pick a fifth one, like not even just who you'd want, but like gut reaction. So you have Connie, Ali, Andre, Ben. There's one more. Is it Bryce? Is it Max? Is it?
Per my hot take, I think it has to be Bryce. Let me look at my little list I have on my phone.
I would say Max.
Okay. And I'm going to say Shayna Taub.
I would I would actually say wait, hang on, what did I just look at? Oh, I would say that Leighton is a possibility then.
Yeah, I do think Leighton's a possibility. I mean, listen, if we live in a world where Constantine and Leighton are both in for Titanic, you're not going to hear a goddamn complaint come out of my mouth that day. I'll be thrilled.
What an amazing category. I'm most excited for featured actor in a musical after talking today and coming into it with, my stuff prepped. But seriously, it's so exciting.
It's really exciting. I know, gentlemen, we all have to go. But before we head out, any final thoughts you want to share? Or if any Tony nominators are listening to this, if you could plead a case for a show or a person or a creative, what would you do?
I don't want Queen of Versailles to be fully forgotten, and I've been listening to some of the music this week, and I do think it should get in for score.
I agree.
You guys are sick. You guys are sick people.
Connor, Caviar Dreams is a good song. It's a good song.
Unfortunately, I've heard the score one time and could probably sing you 3 different songs from
American royalty.
That's the one I've got in my head all the time. Is that
it's called
Caviar
a motif?
Dreams?
Yeah, it's in Caviar Dreams. It's in the Act 1 finale. It's in the 11 o'clock number. It's called a motif. Look her up. She's all over the place. But
okay,
I don't think Queen of Versailles is a good musical, Connor. I've said that before. But I do think there's something there. And I do think that there's elements to that score that work. And I think that the cast recording helps. And it's Stephen Schwartz's probably final Broadway shows. And what are they going to do? Are they going to put in 3 plays when they could put in a pity nom for Queen of Versailles? Come on.
I don't know about that. Okay, my final nominators, let me plead for Ben Allers in Death of a Salesman.
Oh, yes.
I think he's giving such a comedic and heartfelt performance. And who would I be? I wouldn't be Connor MacDowell if I didn't come in here saying a hot man should be recognized. So come on, give it to the Clock Twunk.
Clock Twink is dead. Long live the Clock Twunk.
Yes. And Happy is a happy boy who's topless for half of Act 1. So made me happy.
Joe Mantello gave the people what they wanted.
Legit.
Okay, so Dylan, you said hot take Queen of Versailles won't get fully forgotten. I mean, I also think a set nomination there, right?
Yeah. Oh, for sure.
Yeah. What would the
It was a
internet
mess.
do?
What are you talking about?
The set? Are you kidding
It
me?
was a mess. I felt so claustrophobic and pieces were coming in that I had no idea where they were from.
Because it was under construction.
Maybe that means it was successful, Connor.
I didn't feel right about it. I felt wrong about it. It was not right.
Okay, that's fine.
My other hot take was that Chess is overperforming. Don't forget that one.
Oh, yes, yeah. Dylan, Chess is overperforming. Connor thinks that Connie is getting in. And then
Twice.
Ben Allers, twice, yes. He wouldn't be Connie if he couldn't get in twice. And then Ben Allers getting in as well. Yeah, okay, great. I love all of this. Gentlemen, thank you so much for joining us today. I'm going to let you go on with the rest of your day. And make sure everybody listens to Drama with Connor and Dylan. All right. Thank you very much, twins. That's very enlightening from both of you. And last but not least, I did take to the Broadway Breakdown Discord, which if you haven't joined yet, please do so. It's our regular call to action, but I must emphasize it's just a really wonderful community. You guys have really found a groove there, and it's very respectful, very sassy, and in the best kind of ways, right? Everyone's very respectful of each other and playful in that way that you are with family and friends. This is to say, I did take to the Discord channel and I said, hey guys, what are some of your big swings? What's really kind of in your gut telling you, I think this could happen? And people went off, and there were definitely more. There were a couple of ones that people wrote where I don't think they truly believe it's going to happen so much as they were like, hey, what if it did? Which is yeah, sure. What if it did? What if I won $90 billion tomorrow? It could happen. It probably won't. But it seems that the ones that keep coming up, and I think there are a few that are more likely than others. One or two people mentioned Ben Levi Ross for Ragtime. I don't think that's a big swing. I think that is happening. There was talk of Bryce Pinkham in chess. You heard that in a few of the segments today. It clearly could happen. People seem to really want it to happen. And if that's true, then, we need to pay attention to that. Other things in featured actor in a musical, there was talk of maybe Ken Ard in Cats. He plays DJ Grittlebone. I don't really see that happening. What lovely job as he does, it's not quite an impactful enough performance. Brad Oscar and Schmigadoon, it could happen. We do like Brad Oscar. The community really likes Brad Oscar. He doesn't have enough to do, in my opinion, in that show. I do think if anyone's getting in featured actor from Schmigadoon, it's going to be Max Clayton, which at this point is a very strong possibility. There's talk of Junior LaBeija. I don't really think that's a big swing. I think that's sort of an on the bubble, very much could happen, but also could not. Robert Silk Mason, who plays Mistopheles in Cats, that is a bit of a swing. It would be an amazing swing. They're wonderful in the show, but it's not really a performance that's kind of gunning for awards, but it's a wonderful performance. And of course, some have mentioned Paul Alexander Nolan in Lost Boys, which we love. We want that man recognized, but it's just, I don't think that this is the role. Although we said that before about other shows that he had the role that could get him nominated and it didn't happen. So, watch him get nominated for the role that's like not even his best role. Featured actress in a musical, plenty of talk about Hannah Cruz in Chess. I think now that Stephanie Hsu is out of the running in featured actress, that allows a slot for Hannah Cruz to completely happen, especially since reception on Rocky Horror seems to be a little bit mixed. So while Amber Gray or Rachel Dratch could get in there, neither is a super strong possibility. Some have mentioned Melissa Barrera for Titanic. I would love that. I think she does a beautiful job, but Rose is kind of the wet blanket role of all the principals. Mackenzie Kurtz has been mentioned. I don't think that's a big swing. I think that's kind of a major possibility, a likelihood even, more so for me than Anna Gasteyer, but it's fine. I'm glad that a few of you mentioned Emma Sophia and Cats, Jellicle Ball. Lord knows I am on board with that. You hear us talk about it in a few of these past segments. One person mentioned Melody Boutiou from Queen of Versailles. I will say she did a lovely job in that show. The acting was acting, but yeah, while I personally am banging the drum that Queen of Versailles is not going to go empty-handed with nominations on Tuesday, I do have a foot in the real world, and I understand that it getting even a single nomination for me is a victory in terms of being right. I don't see it getting more than 3. I still don't even think that Kristen's getting in, even though if you listen to earlier, some people think it's possible. Featured actress in a play, people are banging the drum for Mary Louise Burke for The Ballisters. I think that's honestly more of a likelihood at this point. If it doesn't happen, I think that would be more of a surprise than her not getting. Her getting in is less of a surprise than her not getting in. Some have mentioned James Corden in Art for lead actor. Again, possible. Alfred Molina was nominated for the same role. Corden was objectively the best one in that show, but I do ultimately think Art is going to blank on nomination day. It wasn't a bad production. It was just sort of a meh production of a play that isn't as good as we remembered it being in the 90s, but Corden was the best thing about it. There was mention of sound design for Every Brilliant Thing. I think I mentioned that once a few weeks ago, that was a possibility for me. Just the way that they do the sound design for that show, of being able to hear everyone in the audience when they're reciting the different brilliant things and making Daniel Radcliffe sound like he's right next to you without it being over amplified, is really subtle but wonderful sound design work. And that is a category that is voted on solely by sound designers. So I think that the professionals in that nominating committee will recognize that feat, or at least I hope they do. There was a big swing for Chess for costumes, which, oh boy, if that happens, I will never stop laughing. Because I'm trying to think, that would be a situation where nominators would really, 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 really go out of their way to not nominate Queen of Versailles for anything. Because we've got Jellicle Ball, which is just, I think, winning hands down. Schmigadoon, Ragtime. I do see Lost Boys getting in there for the 80s of it all. And that just relieves the Queen of Versailles of it all, there is a great abundance of costumes in that show, and the truth is that if it doesn't get nominated, is because of the elephant in the room of William Ivy Long. But also, the Tonys have proven in the past that sometimes they just don't care about that shit. They should, but they sometimes just don't. And yeah, I mean, I can't see it happening for Chess, but if it does, I mean, also I think Rocky Horror could get in there for costumes. They're very silly, they're very campy, they're very fun, they're very memorable. A lot of corsets. Also mentioned the Queen of Versailles for orchestrations. I don't think that's happening, but I do think those orchestrations fucking slap. Those flutes in Caviar Dreams, the American royalty. I think it's really fun. It gets my goat. In fact, I told Kent, our music director for the Broadway Breakdown live shows, as we are singing Caviar Dreams and are reviewing the 2025-2026 season, I wanted him to include that flute flurry in the arrangements for the show. So yeah, I do like those orchestrations. Would be happy if they got in, but I just don't see it happening. And then another big swing that was mentioned, and we kind of talked about this earlier, is Joe Turner kind of overperforming with nominations, which is possible. It was very well received, and I've definitely heard from some friends who've loved it. My experience is my experience, but what have you. I do think at this point it is getting in for revival, and I do think that Ruben Santiago Hudson is getting in. There's talk of Taraji or Cedric getting in, of Debbie Allen getting in for director. I would say possible, not likely, you know? I wouldn't say necessarily on the bubble. I think all three of them are sort of like one step away from the bubble, but, you know, it definitely could happen. I think those are some bold swings that are not totally out of left field. So yeah, that's really it for this episode, guys. I hope that all these conversations have been illuminating, that as you listen to this, it helps you kind of define your final predictions for nominations, which will be coming out extremely shortly. And then once those nominations are out, you can decide for yourself how much this was actually helpful. But once the nominations are done, then it becomes about figuring out those damn winners. And we got a month of that. So lock in. So that's it for this episode. If you like the podcast, once again, 5-star rating or review really helps us. You guys have been crushing it with reviews lately. We are getting close to 400 ratings and reviews on Apple Podcasts. We're not quite as close to 200 on Spotify, but we're getting closer. So that's really wonderful. If you want to subscribe to the Substack, that'd be amazing. The YouTube channel, that'd be amazing. I am on Instagram @MacKoplik, usual spelling. You'll be able to listen to me soon on the Sage Combat podcast with Sean Hayden, which will be great. And that's really it for this episode. I'm going to close this out with, speaking of Queen of Versailles, a lady who is ineligible for a Tony this year, but gave one of my favorite performances in leading actress in a musical, which is Miss Sherry Renee Scott. And she's been sort of making the rounds again ever since the Rachel Zegler, Ben Platt last 5 years concert's been going around. So we're going to close out with Miss Sherry Renee Scott because we love her. She's Mother, and she's back, and she's doing musicals, and we are so appreciative. Thank you, Sherry. Thank you guys for listening. We will see you when those nominations are announced. Take it away, Sherry. Bye.
You and nothing but you. No substitution will do. Nothing but fresh, undiluted, and pure. Top of the line.